welcome back to episode 1 of this halfway through career mode where I try and guide Ferrari F1 team to World Championship glory. There is a good, healthy lead between us and second place to Red Bull in the constructors, and our two drivers are fighting for first and second. Carlos Sainz just edging out Charles Leclerc. So we have some emails to deal with before we get into the Austrian Grand Prix. So Carlos Sainz has a gearbox issue or wear, so I will make sure to change that. Obviously some technical regulations for next season, so I will do some research. I reckon that much will do, maybe a little bit less. There we go. I'll just leave it on balanced. I want to get some very solid research done. I'll devote 3 engineers to do that. So we have got to also look at the powertrain on car 1, which is Charles Leclerc. He's going to need to take a penalty. So 2 also on Carlos Sainz. ERS on both of them was new for last race by the look of it, and the gearbox for this. Okay, so every car is now primed, ready to go. Sainz, Leclerc and Théo Pourchaire are all ready to go. No additional development points to put on to either of the drivers or staff, so let's get into this race weekend. Right, so for FP1 and FP2 I'm just going to leave it up to the AI to simulate and get their foot in a little bit in practice. Okay, that's good news. Leclerc just about edging out Max Verstappen. Sainz decently close behind in P3, not too bad. Hamilton has a penalty along with Vettel, Schumacher, Latifi. Hamilton probably the only one we're really going to take notice of for this one. Practice 2, again, I'll just let them simulate, let the AI default get their setups a bit better. Okay, Verstappen and Leclerc barely separated by anything this time. Max Verstappen is faster. Sainz again just lurking behind in P3. Perez has closed the gap. Gasly, that's an impressive effort from Pierre to get into P5. That's not a bad effort at all. Already 60+% confidence on both cars.
Our race weekend continues.
It's very good news. Right. I will take FP3 just to really drill home the setups. I won't show you guys that. I will cut back to qualifying. Okay, so FP3 is now done. As you can see, Leclerc didn't get a lap time in on the softs. His setup was much more tricky to get right. Sainz, very happy, very quickly was able to go out late on in the session and take a considerable fastest lap. His first of the weekend. That FP3 session was mental. Nicholas Latifi got absolutely decimated by a Haas car, and then in the same corner Lance Stroll got rear-ended by Max Verstappen, so Verstappen has got a penalty coming his way, which is huge news for us in the championship. As you can see, Sainz 93% confident with his setup, Charles only 81, but that's still pretty good. He'll be not hopefully crashing too much with this. Into qualifying, I mean, how much of this I'm going to show, I don't really know, because Q1 and Q2 are formalities. I'll show you if anything happens of like a shock, but if you don't see anything, then both cars got through to Q3, easy as cake. So as expected, everything went swimmingly. We are into Q3. Both Charles Leclerc has topped the timing sheets both times, and Sainz is looking pretty quick as well. 7,000 separated them at the end there. For Q3, I will bring you along for the start, and you can see there is a risk of rain, so we are going to hope that the AI get caught out. We're going to send our drivers out early and hope that we can get our lap times in. Perez, Alonso, Hamilton have all followed us out. I don't know, the rain's coming. The rest of them are going to need to get a move on if they're to get a lap in before the rain starts hitting. It started to rain.
Yes, confirmed.
It started to rain. Verstappen, Russell, Ocon, Gasly, Bottas, they've yet to set a lap time. Alonso's a lot slower than Hamilton, although this is not really this year's game. Alonso's still in an Alpine. So, could Verstappen be in a bit of trouble here? He's just started his lap. Verstappen could be in serious trouble. Russell 6 seconds. Verstappen, Gasly, Bottas are going to be even slower. Oh my word. Verstappen, I think, is only going to be 7th at best here. And with his penalty, he could be even worse. Disastrous. We don't need to go out again. The track is still damp. There's no one going better. Charles Leclerc is on pole from Sainz, Perez, and then it will be the Alpine duo of Alonso and Ocon because of Hamilton's penalty. Well, I don't know why everyone's going out. I mean, it's not as if they're going to find time to improve. I don't think, anyway, unless I've got this horribly wrong. I don't think the track will be... And even if they do, the track rubber will have all been gone, I think. What an end to qualifying this could be. Russell has improved a little bit on his time. Obviously, he set his on slick inters. Ocon can't improve. Bottas can't improve. Verstappen does pip Russell. Obviously, with his penalty, he needs to finish as high as possible. And that is it for qualifying. What an interesting grid. Alonso going to start 4th with Ocon 5th after Hamilton's penalty. Verstappen is going to be even lower, maybe outside the top 10. I don't know how big the penalty will be, probably about a 3-placer, so maybe he will just start 10th. This is huge. Alpine could be on for a huge haul of points. Let's go to the race.
The time has come to fight it out.
So in terms of strategy, I'm looking at probably... It'll probably be a one-stop if I'm looking at the wear. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a threat of rain. I think I'll go one-stop, leave it very, very open. I'll start medium to hard. I could split strategy if I was feeling wild, but I don't really fancy doing that. I think this will just be hopefully quite a standard straightforward win. It looks like there will be no issues with tyre wear, so we can always push if, for example, we get pipped by Perez at the start. Let's go.
It's bright and sunny. The crowd are ready. The cars are ready. It's the Austrian Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
Ferrari obviously did win this race in real life, which is very... Puts the pressure on me to make sure that I don't now lose. I'm just going to let the drivers fight it out. They are in a championship battle. I'm not going to give team orders unless absolutely necessary. Hamilton's penalty was massive. Verstappen has actually lost a position to Zhou off the start, which is pretty crazy. I'll put it on ×2. I will speed it up a little bit more. Oh, that was naughty from Sainz. So Sainz has actually got Leclerc off the start. Was tempted to make Sainz because he qualified last, start on the hards and see if he would get them to work, but I'm slightly wary that the Red Bull is quite quick still. So I'm gonna I decided, you know what, let's just keep Sainz on the mediums. So that's the start phase over. I don't know if... I think Leclerc will hopefully stick within Sainz's DRS. They're already out of a second of Perez, which is huge news. They are working together as a team to just escape, and then they'll probably be fighting a lot. I probably won't show all of the action, to be honest, because the one thing I found is they change positions quite often, like pretty much every lap they will change position. I will
DRS enabled.
cut back to whenever there's a crucial action moment. DRS enabled. I suppose I'll stay on board for this one. Let's see if Charles Leclerc will fight Carlos with DRS. Nope, doesn't look like it. Maybe down this straight. Let's see what he'll do. He's looking like he's close, but not close enough. Okay, right, I will cut to when there's a bit of exciting action. Okay, so I believe this is now lap 18 in this Grand Prix, so I'm just going to give a little update. Leclerc and Sainz basically have just been chopping and trading fastest laps, although Leclerc's just had a little issue lapping Latifi, and that's very much helped Sainz escape down the road. But Leclerc is now catching him back up. This has been Leclerc's run wide, just as I'm saying he may have had an error. Leclerc just has run wide there.
They've gone wide.
His tyres don't seem to be overheating, which is slightly strange, but I mean, it wasn't a critical corner, critical run wide. So, you know, it's one of those things that will happen in a race. Leclerc's now dropped significantly back on Sainz. Verstappen has just run wide. I was going to say, he's fought all his way back up to 4th. Very impressed with Ocon, who was keeping within DRS for significant amounts of laps. And now has been given P4 back after Verstappen has run wide as well, which is very nice. If Ocon can do us a real favour and make Verstappen really work his car and get wear on his components, then that will be brilliant news for us. Yeah, this has basically just been Leclerc and Sainz dominating the show. I mean, even with Leclerc running wide, the gap I don't think dropped beneath 12 seconds. To Perez, he's just been... The Ferraris again here have just been in a league of their own, just like they were in 2020. Sainz obviously didn't get to show his true pace because of an engine failure in the real race. As Norris spins, I'm not going to bother looking at that. Norris is currently down in P12. Now he's fighting Tsunoda for 13th and has lost to Tsunoda in 13th. Oh, Carlos has run wide. Again. What's happened to the aero? Underfloor has damage.
Look at that! They've run wide!
Oh dear. Well, this could open up for Charles now. Sainz has damage to his car, which is very big. Oh gosh, guys, don't crash now. So Sainz has damage. I think Sainz has to accept this, and I'm going to tell him, don't fight the teammate. You can stay in the DRS, but I don't really want the slower driver out in front. Like, he's now got significant damage to his floor. I know this is like favouring sides, but I don't really want them fighting in this race. It's clear to me that they've both now made a few mistakes. So yeah, I'll cut again now. Ocon has been passed by Verstappen, which is a shame, but it's taken until lap 26, so that's pretty good. Both drivers have now made a mistake. Sainz, I'm just going to, for the time being, let him tuck in behind Charles. Sainz's tyres have taken more of a beating, so I think I'll give him priority on the pit stop to make it up to him. But now we should just focus once again on keeping our heads, and if the pit window is now, I might just tell Charles to push. I might tell Carlos to push as well. Okay, I'll cut to the next bit of action. Okay, so this is the crucial lap. I'm going to ignore Leclerc being told to come in. I'm going to let Carlos come in first. Now, he has kept a lot of pace with
Carlos box.
Charles. So I'm going to let Carlos go through, and Perez has actually done an undercut. Interesting. Verstappen ran wide again, by the way. That's why he's behind Ocon. I will say this, Carlos has been keeping pace with Charles Leclerc now for quite a while. So I'm going to gamble and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. If he can undercut Leclerc, then that would be... then I will let him stay out in front and I'll let them fight again. I just thought with the underfloor damage he would be holding up Leclerc too much. But he's actually kept pace and has at times looked quicker. I've just been reluctant to let him through. Yeah, and Sainz now complaining about tyres overheating. I'm not surprised he's been following Leclerc very closely. So, Carlos, you're going to come into the pit. Charles, you're going to push. And you are going to...
Copy.
You are going to box this lap, Charles.
And box now, box.
So this will be interesting. I'll just keep on board. So you can see what's happened in the pits. Let's see what happens. Sainz is going to come out just ahead of an Aston Martin, behind an Aston Martin rather, but no, Aston Martin I think is Seb, so he's a lapped car. I'm going to relinquish that control just in case. I'm going to let him push on the side. I'm going to bring his tyres in gently. Now into the pits comes Charles. Yeah, I mean, Sainz still very clear of the next closest car. See what will happen with Charles. Oh, he's done him. He's done him. They're fighting. Into turn one, just bring your tyres in gently, Charles, and I will put you back to standard because I don't want you crashing. And Leclerc now goes round the outside. Beautiful overtake. And as Ricciardo runs wide, does not matter for our race. He is down in 13th position. 14th now. He's been done by the Alfa Romeo. So I will again cut to a bit of action. Okay, big moment here. There is a safety car out on track, and it looks like it's because of Latifi maybe. What's happened here? I wonder. Now I'm thinking, do I have a spare set of new mediums? I do, and they are said to go for 56 laps. I think we should do that. I mean, I know it's double stacking, it's very risky, but I think we've got enough of a gap. And the AI in this game are normally way better than you on tyre wear. So I am going to pit both drivers to new medium tyres. They should last comfortably the full distance. I've already made that, thank you. So
I think we've had a car run wide.
So what's happened here?
Now
Is
let's
Latifi
look.
running
We're watching
wide?
Nicholas Latifi. They've taken that far too wide, and now they're paying the price.
Run wide, and did he just beach his car?
Oh, they've run wide. We can take a look
Only
now.
I don't really know what's happened
Bottas.
here. That's not caused a
wide.
safety car, I don't think. So Latifi's just parked up on the gravel. That is a weird one, I'll be honest. So obviously Charles is not going to be too happy with this. Carlos is pitting ahead of him, but safety car losses mean very little. They are still 1 and 2 on the road. Wonder if Perez will pit. Perez doesn't pit.
Oh, we've had a spin.
Okay. What I'm going to do, by the way, is just really make sure that everything is as is, just in case we need to push the drivers off the restart, because obviously we're a bit on colder tyres. Checo, Max and P4 will be on warmed up tyres, although Max and Ocon were both on hards from the start. I didn't know that. So they're on mediums now, I think. Yeah, so they're on warmed up mediums. They'll be the scary ones. Some of these drivers, Norris, Tsunoda, Stroll, Schumacher and Magnussen on used softs. Wow. Okay. I mean, that is a a rogue strategy call by them. I would not have been that brave to put on soft tyres. I suppose you probably could, but you'd be on the risk of getting a puncture. I suppose though, if you're a midfield team, you will run that risk. I mean, Norris will be very much quick now and will want to get positions. Okay, so I'm just going to skip ahead. Oh, lapped car's now overtaking. That's all well and good. Doesn't really affect us. We've now got Checo right behind. Lando is catching the field. I mean, Latifi's out, so he just must have parked up on the gravel, which blows my mind that he's somehow managed to retire that. But I mean, he is the greatest for a reason. Safety car in this lap. Right. Okay.
Okay.
So obviously I will now put fuel mode and tyres back to balanced. Obviously if I need,
And Charles, no lift off needed.
I
You are doing a good job.
get them to push a little bit more.
Copy.
So safety car's now over. So Sainz leads them away. Let's just see what happens. Just need to make sure no one crashes, and just as well, I do not think the restart has been an issue. Good. Okay, once again, we'll cut if there is any interesting points or a big crash or something. Alright, so we're approaching the end of this Grand Prix. Hamilton had a big moment and he's now down the order significantly. I mean, you can see the order is just
I think there's been a lock-up.
topsy-turvy galore. I mean, we've just been so clear at this pit stop. You should have seen it was fastest laps being constantly traded, and you can see we'll ride on board with Sainz. This has just been it's been a 2-horse race, and only a 2-horse race. They've just been constantly changing positions, but it's never really been in question from anyone else in this Grand Prix. The only question was whether Sainz would be quicker with the underfloor damage or whether Leclerc would just have the edge. It's been impossible to tell. Like, it's a toss-up. Even I don't know now who's going to finish. I'm not giving team orders. I just want to see them cross the line. This has been an incredible race. This has been such a good watch. And this has been a thoroughly dominant race as well. I mean, it's a race that Ferrari actually won in real life. Their pace was just so dominant, like I said, with Charles Leclerc. And I don't think we've done them a disservice, to be fair. I think I've played the strategy to perfection. Was originally planning to be a one-stop, which we were about 30 seconds in front at the end of pit stop rounds. Obviously someone like Max and Ocon were put onto mediums, but they had to get through Perez first in order to even get to us, and Perez was 30 seconds behind. I think we would have been absolutely fine.
And last lap.
Last lap. Who will win? Will it be Leclerc like he did in real life, or will Carlos steal this? He's waited. Is he going to try and make a dive bomb round the outside here? No, Leclerc has positioned himself very well. The underfloor damage might just be getting to Sainz when the tyre wear kicks in. This has been still a very impressive drive from him with underfloor damage. He's kept such good pace. So, just like in real life, Ferrari take the checkered flag first in Austria with Charles Leclerc. Sainz this time doesn't have an engine failure. He instead comes home in P2, and I think it will be Max who comes home third. Checo will come home in fourth, and behind we've got a drag race between George Russell and Ocon. What a race Ocon has had, by the way. Started fifth and stayed fifth despite an onslaught from the cars behind. Bottas, Norris, Gasly and Tsunoda very close behind. Stroll, Hamilton, Schumacher, followed by Ricardo, Vettel, Zhou, Albon and Magnussen, and the Haas will be the last driver across the line. Interesting Grand Prix, but we've achieved our aim. We're one step closer to the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship. It's impossible to tell though at this moment in time for who. Charles Leclerc, thoroughly dominant. I mean, you can see, it was just very simple. Max did a good recovery drive. Lewis had a brilliant drive and then just messed it up on the restart. He was in, I think it was P4, or it may have been P5, I can't really remember, but he was in a very high position and binned it off the restart, which is sad for him. Onto the drivers. Charles now he also got the fastest lap there, you can see. So you can see wins 6 and 5 out of 11 races. We have won every single race because of my ingenious tactics. As a wise Jeremy Clarkson once said, my genius has its own gravitational field or something like that. And that's very much been the case for me this season. For Ferrari, in the Constructors, it may already be a foregone conclusion. We are almost 200 points ahead of Red Bull. Alpine with a very good points haul of 16. I think Alonso will be disappointed with his performance. P7 down 3 from starting 4th. Obviously probably would have expected Max up past him, probably, but he will still, I think, be hard done by with that. But yes, 1-2 for our drivers. We are one step closer to achieving the elusive Constructors' Championship and Drivers' Championship that Ferrari could have got with the correct decisions last year. Before we wrap up this episode, I will do some of the admin, and then for next episode I'll do it in a structure of we go straight into the race weekend for the new episode rather than doing the admin stuff first. I know different YouTubers would do it a different way. I'm not a different YouTuber, so cry. So the cars are all fine, other than car 2 will need a new underfloor. Oh, it's already automatically done it for me. I think I will need to just make another one. I just need one more just in case someone like Leclerc crashes next race. Leclerc has a development point which I'll put on defending. Just want to make him a more well-rounded driver, really. Science doesn't, Poucher does, and reactions. Now he's 60 in every stat minimum. Obviously we won't really use Poucher, but I may as well upgrade him while I can. Nothing there. Here we go. F1 in School's Invitation. Staff experience paused, but we get 100,000. This doesn't really matter, to be honest, because we're not really going to do any more than one season of this. But in terms of what I would do if I was real, I think I would attend, because it's essentially just advertising to a wider audience. So that's my reasoning. Usher debrief, cool. Congratulations, cool. Post-race overview, cool. Helipad poor condition. Again, this really does not matter, but I will do it anyway, because if I was a real boss I would do that. And sporting regulations. Now, obviously, where this isn't going to matter for us either. Now, would Ferrari back this? Essentially, the points system stays the same. Fastest lap bonus point stays the same. You get a pole position point and double points for the last race. I think Ferrari wouldn't like that, because they're very classical in their way of doing it. I think they would agree to a pole position bonus, just like they'd probably agree to a fastest lap bonus. I don't think they would agree to double points. So for that reason, I'm going to vote against. So we're going to just skip ahead. The helipad has been refurbished. Brilliant. Awesome. Suspension low stock. Oh, that's, go on then. I'll manufacture a new suspension then. Sure. Just one. That should do it. You can do it when you B&Q it. Underfloor. Yep, that's new one. Awesome. Suspension's been manufactured as well. up-and-coming driver, Arthur Leclerc. That is very, very funny. I bet Leclerc wants us to sign him, not that it matters. Right. And the majority of 4. Interesting. So this is, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I try to be realistic. AlphaTauri, Williams and Ferrari all voted against, and then everyone else voted for. Interesting. Okay, cool, fine. Right, and we are here at the French Grand Prix. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for watching, and on to the next race. Peace.